When the HOA patrol climbed our fence for the umpteenth time, Grandpa had enough, so he gave them a shocking lesson they'd never forget. This isn't just about a fence. It's about standing up to authority. You won't believe what happened next. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and tell us where you are listening. Your support means everything. The sun was just rising over the neighborhood, casting a warm glow on the quiet suburban streets. In the cozy home at the end of Elm Street, 16-year-old Lucy sat at the kitchen table, absent-mindedly stirring her cereal. Her grandfather, Mr. Thompson, was sitting in his old rocking chair on the porch, his weathered face illuminated by the early light. The air was filled with the chirping of birds and the distant hum of traffic. But beneath the serenity, something was brewing. As Lucy glanced out the window, she noticed the familiar figure of an HOA Homeowners Association patrol car slowly rolling down the street. A sense of unease settled in her stomach. The HOA had been trouble lately, more so than usual. It wasn't that the organization was bad, but they had become obsessed with the tiniest details of every house in the neighborhood, enforcing ridiculous rules. Today, she felt sure they were coming for her family's fence again. The tension between the Thompsons and the HOA had been building for years. It all started when they put up a sturdy wooden fence in their backyard, a simple addition for privacy. But the HOA insisted it was too tall, violating some obscure rule about aesthetic consistency in the neighborhood. The dispute escalated into a series of petty confrontations. Letters were sent, warnings given, and fines imposed. It had become a bitter back and forth that no one seemed to want to back down from. Grandpa, a man of strong opinions, had always refused to take down the fence, believing it was his right to enjoy his property as he saw fit. It all came to a head one afternoon when the HOA patrol, a pair of middle-aged men with clipboards, decided to take matters into their own hands. They tried to scale the Thompson family's fence, hoping to snap a photo as evidence. They were caught by Lucy, who had just gotten home from school. The confrontation was awkward, to say the least. Grandpa, noticing the commotion, had emerged from the porch, waving his arms, demanding they leave his property. The HOA members backed off but made it clear they would be returning soon. That was the day Lucy realized the HOA wasn't just about rules, it was personal. Grandpa had always been a bit of a rebel in the neighborhood, but this time, he took things to another level. That evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Grandpa called Lucy into the workshop. There, amidst the tools and old furniture, he unveiled his plan. He had decided to electrify the gate, a decision that, to him, seemed perfectly reasonable. He wasn't trying to hurt anyone, just giving the HOA patrol a shock they wouldn't forget. Lucy hesitated, but Grandpa's calm determination was unshakable. He explained how the low-voltage electric fence could be harmless, more of a deterrent than a danger. If they want to climb my fence, they'll have to deal with a little zap, he said with a grin. Over the next few days, Grandpa worked tirelessly, modifying the gate with the electric setup. He and Lucy spent hours wiring the system, testing the voltage, and making sure everything was just right. Grandpa had a way of explaining complex things with ease, and Lucy found herself learning more than she expected. The process, though unconventional, brought the two closer together. As they worked, Grandpa told stories of his own youth, of standing up for what was right, of battles fought for freedom and fairness. Each tale made Lucy realize that this wasn't just about a fence. It was about standing up to authority when it oversteps its bounds. The trap was set. Grandpa and Lucy stood on the porch, waiting for the inevitable HOA patrol to make their move. The neighborhood was eerily quiet, with only the soft sound of the wind rustling the leaves. Grandpa sat in his chair, his eyes sharp under the brim of his worn-out hat. Lucy, on the other hand, fidgeted with her phone, her mind racing. Suddenly, headlights appeared at the end of the street. The HOA patrol had arrived. Lucy's heart skipped a beat. She knew this could be the moment that everything changed. The patrol car stopped in front of the Thompsons' house. The two HOA members stepped out, clipboard in hand, just as Grandpa had expected. They approached the fence with their usual air of authority, unaware of the surprise waiting for them. Grandpa remained seated, watching with a mix of amusement and defiance. Lucy, sensing the tension, crossed her arms. The patrol members began to climb the fence, as they had done before, but this time, as soon as their feet touched the top, the electric current ran through the wires. There was a moment of stunned silence, followed by a series of loud, startled yelps. The HOA members scrambled off the fence, their faces flushed with shock and embarrassment. They had no idea what had hit them. Lucy couldn't help but feel a mix of satisfaction and concern. The HOA patrol stood on the lawn, clearly shaken but trying to maintain their composure. One of them shouted toward Grandpa, "What did you do? You can't do that." Grandpa, calm as ever, rose from his chair, walking slowly toward the gate. "I'm just protecting my property. Maybe next time, you'll think twice before climbing over it." His voice was firm, but not angry. He wasn't trying to escalate the situation, just make a point. Lucy watched as the two men exchanged nervous glances. They were defeated. They knew there was no getting around this. In their eyes, Grandpa had crossed a line, but in Lucy's eyes, he had finally taken a stand. The HOA never returned after that night. The incident spread through the neighborhood, and while some neighbors were outraged, others secretly admired Grandpa's audacity. In a way, he had become a local legend, a man who didn't bow to the powers that be. The HOA had no choice but to let the matter go, and the fence remained untouched. As for Grandpa, he went back to his usual routine, sitting on the porch and watching the world go by. Lucy, however, felt a shift in herself. She had seen her grandfather fight for what he believed in, and in doing so, she realized that sometimes standing up for what's right requires a little shock value. Years later, Lucy would remember that summer with a smile. She had long since left home, but Grandpa's lesson stuck with her. It wasn't about fences or wires or the HOA. It was about standing up for what mattered. Life would always present obstacles, some big, some small. But Grandpa had shown her that sometimes, to protect what you love, you have to take matters into your own hands. As she sat in her own backyard, watching the sunset, Lucy felt a sense of peace. She had inherited not just Grandpa's stubbornness, but his courage. And that, she realized, was worth far more than any fence.